All right, everybody, good afternoon. We've got one more video about the day 3 centers in this draft class. We've got 3 to go through here, and I'll tell you, some of them kind of do it for me. There's definitely some intriguing stuff here with these 3. So, going to start with Ricky Stromberg of Arkansas, 22 years old, playing with KJ Jefferson down there for the Razorbacks. 6'3", 306 pounds, pretty standard size for a center. Pretty long arms, actually, 33 and a quarter, 9 and 3/4 inch hands. The combine was decent, not great. 5'2", 640, 1'8", 110 yard split. 32 and a half inch vert, 9'3" inch broad, workable. A lot of the big boards have him going in like the 6th or 7th round. The one that really likes him is CBS. CBS thinks he's going to go in the 4th. The mock draft database has him going in like the late 5th, early 6th kind of range. Seems like a reasonable expectation to me. Had a respectable year in 2022. Graded out nearly 84 against the run, 77 with the pass, almost 85 in zone, much better than gap. Definitely got my attention there. Only allowed 11 hurries, 0 sacks, 0 QB hits on this season. So really good protection numbers. He played a lot at Arkansas. He had a lot of experience as a starter. Played some guard for Arkansas as well, so there's a little bit of versatility there. He can give you some IOL depth in general. The Arkansas Razorbacks obviously run the ball a lot because they had KJ Jefferson. So he blocks for a wide variety of rushing plays. They ran all different kinds of running plays down there at Arkansas, and Ricky Stromberg blocked effectively for all of them. He's good at using his hands to help open up the run lanes. He's got a big frame, decent amount of strength. The length also helps, by the way. Like I said, the arms are a little bit better than longer. He's smart with his pre-snap callouts, and he's also got his head on a swivel post-snap. Physical player. So good mix of like pretty good strength, pretty good frame, pretty good intelligence, pretty good athleticism. It's nothing over the top, but he's like a well-rounded day 3 guy. He gets pushed around sometimes. Elite interior lineman. Like I watched some tape of him against Jalen Carter. I think it was Jalen Carter. And, I mean, obviously he's got no real chance. And the quicker guys can get around him. So he's kind of a jack of all trades, master of none in some way, I guess you could say. His technique in maintaining the blocks can occasionally be shoddy. Like sometimes he'll get shed pretty easily. Sometimes, even though his arms are a little bit longer than average, he doesn't utilize it the way that he could. He needs to learn how to use that advantage a little bit better. I don't know about his pass blocking ability just because Arkansas doesn't pass the ball that much. They're a run-heavy team. Technique with feet, not great, and that can affect your anchor when you're anchoring against, like, edge rushers. Or, I keep saying edge rushers when I meant to say rushers. Just rushers in general up the middle. So sometimes his anchor gets a little bit weak. And he's not great in space, I don't think. At the very least, I don't know how his abilities in space are going to translate to a higher level. So even though he scored really well in his zone-based scheme, and I do think there's some credibility there, I feel like he's going to be better off going to a team that runs the ball a lot, like Arkansas did. Like, you put him on the team with Lamar Jackson at quarterback. You put him on the team with Jalen Hurts at quarterback. I think he'll have a pretty decent amount of success because that's what he's used to. But in Seattle, this offense, probably not. I would say there's enough good here for me to be willing to bite in the 5th round or later, but it's not a perfect marriage by any stretch of the imagination. Okay, now we have Alex Forsyth of the Oregon Ducks. 24 years old. I think we're somewhat familiar with this guy if we're Huskies fans. I know I am. 6'4", 303 pounds, 32 and 3/4 inch arms, 10 and 1/4 inch hands. Not bad there. His combine scores in terms of his athleticism were bad. He had a 20 and a half inch vert, 7, not even an 8-foot broad jump. These are some very low scores. 29 bench press reps though. Got some muscle to him. He can attack that. He can attack that barbell all day. And most of the big boards have him getting drafted. The only one that really likes him though is the Draft Network. They think he could be like a late 4th rounder. The aggregate site says like late 5th, early 6th. Sounds about right to me. His 2022 season was solid, 72 grade overall, 70.3 against the run, almost 86 against the with the pass. Did not allow a single, not one QB sack, QB hit, or QB hurry on the season. And look, some of that is because of Oregon's system. Oregon's offensive system means their quarterback practically never gets pressured. That doesn't have a ton to do with Forsyth specifically, but you got to say, he held up in pass protection, whatever context you want to put around it, right? Like, he couldn't have done better. So there's some credibility here despite the system helping him. So Forsyth is a guy who played some center and played some guard, both guard spots. Even though, I mean, like, these jump scores are kind of a joke, he is overall, I think, a pretty good athlete. He's quick going from snap to block. He's somebody who's going to get the ball through his legs, stand up, and be ready to block very quickly. He's able to maintain a block once he latches on via his balance, his grip, and his foot quickness, all those little technique things that can get lost sometimes in combat, he maintains. His pre-snap game is strong. He's good with the call-outs. Cerebral center, cerebral player. He's got decent strength. When you get him in space and he's like looping around to do those reach blocks, he's speedy enough to hit those blocks. He's got a strong understanding of leverage. He's somebody who's going to get lower than his opponent most of the time. And you let him get up to the second and third level, he's good at understanding the angles. He's good at understanding where he needs to be to make an effective block. He's good at seeing, a couple seconds ahead, so he knows I have to be here to get this block to spring my guy. So, Alex Forsyth, lot of positive stuff to talk about here. I don't think he's a great athlete. I mean, there's no getting around. I mean, he would struggle to jump over a phone booth. Phone book. And nobody watching this video even knows what a phone book is anymore, so I ruined the joke, and nobody's going to get it anyway. But he's not a great athlete, is the point here. He loses his balance sometimes when he's in open space. Sometimes things just get a little bit out of whack. He's decently strong, but not super strong. He does lose those strength battles against the stronger linemen sometimes. Picks up a lot of flags, it seems like. He's probably going to pick up a lot of holding calls at the NFL level. And sometimes he just can't get that leg drive going to open up lanes in the run game when he's one-on-one, trying to just push through a one-tech. Sometimes it's just not going to happen. So I think that despite this whatever the heck you want to call it, I think he's an okay fit for the offense. I think he offers versatility as a backup guard, and he's kind of a well-rounded player all around. I think he'll probably ceiling out or top out as a strong quality backup in the NFL, but you need that. So I would take him in the 5th or 6th round as a reserve and feel like I took care of my depth problems. One more center we're going to take a look at in this series. It's Jake Andrews of Troy. Could not find his age. 6'3", 305 pounds, 31 and 7/8 inch arms, 10-inch hands. So he looks like a center. He moves like a center, walks and talks like a center. Combine was okay. 5'1", 540 is good. 1.8, 10-yard split is admittedly. 26-inch vert, 8'6" 6-inch broad. He's got something to be desired. 4.73, 20-yard shuttle. So for a guy who's probably going to be there at the very tail end of the draft, it's not bad. A couple big boards have him undrafted. A couple have him going in like the 5th or 6th. The aggregate site says he's going to be a mid to late 7th round pick. Seems about right to me. Had a fairly respectable season for Troy in 2022, although he was not very good in pass protection. He was relatively versatile in terms of zone versus gap. He's the only center I've evaluated in these videos who had given up significant QB, how should I put it, quarterback disruption, 4 sacks, 4 hits, 11 hurries. So not great pass protection, it looks like, at least in terms of end result. So what I can say about Jake Andrews as a player, he's experienced playing both guard spots. This is another guy who, if you get, can give you backup guard credibility as well as backup center. He's got real size. Like, I remember looking at low-end draft prospects at center in previous years. Some of them weigh like 260 pounds. They're tiny. They're like 6 feet tall, 271 pounds, and you're like, oh, that's never going to work. No, this guy could work with his size. He's a good run blocker. He understands leverage well. He's good at getting lower than his opponent. He's got a good understanding of how to hit angles. and he's got a decent amount of strength, especially for this area of the draft. He is smart working in space. He understands, like, again, he understands the angles. He understands where he needs to be and when he needs to be there. He plays hard. He gives good effort. I think his testing was a little better than expected, given that this is a guy who will be lucky to get drafted. And he's got good hands in pass protection and passable length. So there is some stuff to like with Jake Andrews, but at the end of the day, I don't know if his best position is center. He might be better as a guard. His athleticism is still highly questionable. Nose tackles are going to have a field day against him for the most part, I think. If he tries to go one-on-one with a one-tech, they're just going to ragdoll him, basically. He's not going to do that well in zone at the NFL level, I don't think. He was good at Troy because of the level of competition, but he's just not quick enough to be able to work well in space at the NFL level. I don't think he's one of these guys whose game is not going to translate terribly well. He doesn't really have any good traits. He has some traits that are above average, and sometimes he gets even outsped. Sometimes he gets beaten to the sides by a faster pass rusher, and I know that's not a huge deal for an interior lineman, but it does happen. He's a little bit slow with his feet. So I think he's a reasonable NFL backup, and I do think there's a place for him in the NFL in all likelihood. But I just wish I saw a little bit more of a fit. Like when I see Alex Forsyth, I at least see maybe he can fit the Seahawks scheme pretty well. When I look at Jake Andrews, I just see like he'll be good somewhere, but very, very low ceiling, and I just don't see the fit. So look, you get to the 7th round, he's still there. You can't go that wrong with it. If he's in UDFA, sure. But yeah, this guy doesn't do much for me at the end of the day. That's it for our centers. Let me know what you guys think. That was 3 more. More videos coming tomorrow. Moving on to a new position. See you guys then. Go Hawks.